Hello, good morning, and a welcome back to Reaper Pro-Tips with me, your host, Anne. Oh no, I've forgotten which episode I'm on. I was going to try to mention every episode, as we climbed up and try to keep track of them, but I failed utterly. Hi everybody, how's it going? Or Quindy, have you started numbering the episodes now? Like on the title. Maybe we should. Maybe it should be episode number 509 or whatever it is. I've totally forgotten though, I failed utterly. Is it 506? I think it's more than 6, Beguiler. Because it was the 23rd? 23rd or 24th? I think it was the 23rd when we had our 500th. But it makes sense 500 is still a lot of episodes. But anyway, good morning. Or in my case, it's morning. I guess for many of you, it's still morning. Some of you, it's evening, though. Yeah, that button. Ta-da! 505? It can't be 505. There's been more days than that. 505? Really? Only? What have I been doing? Oh, yeah. Friday, Monday off. Weird. Okay, well, 505, baby. That's easy to remember. 5:05 on June 1st. All right, cool. I need to look up alligators. That was a good non sequitur, wasn't it? Alligator. Because I'm curious. Because I'm just like curious about my green. My green is almost certainly too vibrant for a real alligator. No, Wikipedia. I did not want you. I hate how Wikipedia like pops up at the top of your screen. Like it's got like a secret thing going with Google, but it's not really a Google search, and then you click on it and you don't get the image option. I am annoyed by this. Just saying, first world problems and all that. Yeah, I know. I just thought for some reason I felt like it had been longer. All right, so actually, interesting. So, okay, so the saltwater crocodile is much more the color that we're going for, where it's got a deep green, olive green upper, and then it goes into kind of browns and then creams underneath. Whereas the American alligator is actually more bluish. This is cool. This is a cool color pattern, guys. So like if you want to paint, that would be a cool dragon actually, to go for the teal, kind of the teal color with the underbelly. So always, again, these are illustrations, but illustrations are kind of nice sometimes because they can make the colors kind of more standard. And also yellow eyes or green for our saltwater friend with a bit of orange in the middle, actually. So yeah, this is a cool reference photo. Makes me happy. It means that if I want to be like in line with this, I should go up to cream, which is cool. I was gonna. Probably up toward, notice that it's like if we start holding colors up, this is in line with the highlight, but we definitely have got some brown in there, a really rich brown. I'm kind of feeling like maybe a mixture of rich leather and russet might get me there. Actually, a glaze of the rich leather might be good enough. Like if I look at that rich leather, it's very close to that color, see? You can kind of you can do this. You can hold your paints up against like a picture or, a photograph and kind of make the judgment call of whether you may not get it exactly, guys, but you're going to get it close. So like, don't be afraid to do this. Like, this is the easiest way to try to like figure out the same colors for stuff is to just look at it. And you can tell just by looking that rich leather is really close to this brown that's here on the alligator. So we've got this, and we've got that, and we're going to rock that. So let's keep that rich leather around. We're going to keep the gnawed bone around as well. Again, you can use creamy ivory or something like that. It's never a bad thing. I did make a note of how I mixed this olive green. Oh, interesting. Right, I was showing you guys how to mix olives. I remember now. Yeah, it has spots, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I don't like the look that much. And I don't know how it'll translate. Spots are kind of dicey unless you can really make them fit in. I I don't want... They're going to look weird. Like, there's lots of overlapping parts on this. I would not do spots on this. I would not. If I was going to go for, like, that really dark blackish color, I would actually do what this is up here and transition it more into the top of the hide. Which, considering we made this olive by mixing in black, is not a bad call. So, I need... I wonder if my 9227 is even here. Or if I stowed it in the other room. I might have stowed it somewhere. I may have to use Dragon instead. That's fine, I can do that. Dragon Green and Brilliant Green, like, are pretty close together. They're not that bad. It's not that bad if you have to sub one for the other. I could also just put a touch of Wilderness Green in. It's a little more yellow, but it's probably not going to matter. Sometimes it's really when you're mixing colors, guys, colors that are close are pretty interchangeable when you're mixing. Like, you make it a slightly more yellow or a slightly more green or a slightly more whatever color. But in general, if you're mixing something and you're adding a touch of green, any brightish green will do. It doesn't matter. You don't have to go with 9227. A lot of these colors, these greens, these mid greens are kind of close together. Like even these, where you can see Wilderness is much more yellow than Dragon. And 9227 is kind of in between. It's probably closer to Dragon. But I could use either of these and get really close to that. So I'm going to grab that, and I'm going to grab my black and my lantern yellow. And I need to whip out my lantern extra bottle of lantern yellow, because this one's getting really low because I use it for NMM all the time. All right, so pop these over here, grab my black. We'll use Besmara because I've got it on my table. Grab what's handy. This is what you see regular 2D artists and James Wapple and, canvas artists do all the time. They're just organic mixing. They're not thinking too hard about what colors they're mixing together. They're just aiming for a result. And so this is something you could do with mini painting. Rhonda is absolutely correct when she says most people overthink this stuff. All you need is close enough, especially when you're mixing. Do not need to sweat it. I keep these swatches so I can get close enough just in case I've totally forgotten how I've mixed something. Because I will, when 2 weeks pass between the model. I will absolutely forget what I've done. Alrighty, so 3 drops of Lantern Yellow 9407. And if you wonder, if you want the kind of color mixing episode I did, look for the last one of this guy, of Centaur. The last episode of Centaur was where we talked about mixing, how you mix olive greens, and just color mixing in general. So if you are interested in that topic, that is a stream to go watch. As I recall, some streams that I do on here, we chat, like yesterday, where we just chat about random crap. Some streams I do on here, I am like super focused on actually teaching, like forcing knowledge into your brains, and that is one of them. So they're kind of random, and it's not like Quindy could put a little gold star on the ones that are, 100% or 99% content. But nonetheless, that is one of those episodes that if you want to learn, you should go and watch. That's not really the color of green stuff, though, Korniko. Not really. One, two, three. All right. Boy, my pokey tool really took a bath there. Time to clean off the pokey tool. You're not reliable. You'd put a gold star on all of them. That's sweet of you. That's sweet of you, Quindy. You may call it unreliable. I'll call it sweet. Alrighty. 3 drops of this. Touches. Just a touch of black and a fairly vibrant green. And when I'm talking about a touch, I will typically shake up my color and put like what I call a half drop. So for me, that's kind of squeezing the bottle until I start to see paint come out. Ah, okay, it came out too much. Start to see paint. Ah, not with a bubble. Come on, black. This black is sarcastic. And then I'll kind of put it like there. So I start to squeeze it till I see a little bit of paint come out, and then I dab it on the side of the palette. So it's not a full drop. I call it a half drop. It's probably a little, it could be about a half drop or a little less or a little more, but it doesn't matter much. Because essentially what you want is to get a start on it. And when we're trying to match this color, but we've got a nice example of it, we can just add a little more black if we want to. You can also just do the palette thing and just mix up wells of your green and your black and just add little bits until you get where you want. California classified bees as fish. That's because I live in a really weird state. Like, you know, the more I think about it, the more my new state feels like it's chaotic good. It has the best intentions with questionable methods. I am convinced that the alignment of California is chaotic good. Nobody can like, you know, nobody can tell me different now. If ketchup can be a vegetable, bees can be fish. Yes, Inara, yes, that. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this green. I'm going to kind of squeeze it until a little bit starts to come out. Hopefully I won't have to, I guess I have to pokey tool because, you know, it's that sort of day. Oh, I don't ask Callie to make sense, but I do feel like, I mean, I am chaotic good. And I have that t-shirt. And I feel like good intentions and questionable methods is totally what California is. All right, so now we get a little bit of this green coming out. Come on, green. Ah, there we go. Bloop. Man, my pokey tool is just getting abused today. Oh yeah, we are drought-land. Like we're headed for like 6 months with 0 rain where I am. 0. Like fish egg, 0. Fish egg, bird egg, goose egg. They're all the same, right? Bee egg. Sorry. Oh my god. Okay, I'm whimsical today. Just get with it. Get with the program, people who are not whimsical. It's all full of whimsy today. Yeah. Right. Yep. That's Southern Cali for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty awful. All right. So that was not enough because that is a much brighter green than we had before. So when you try to mix an olive and you get a very, very bright result, that means you need more black. Black dulls down. Gold star on this episode just for the bloop. Flying, furry, stinging fish. Yes. Boy, that sounds like where they got the one-eyed, one-armed flying purple people eater, or one-eyed, one-horned flying purple people eater from. Gold star on this episode, yes. Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of desert, and South Bay here is very, very dry. So I'm going to just put a little bit of black. I'm going to squeeze a little bit onto my brush. That way, if I want to, I can dab off some of it, mix it in. Because a little bit of black goes a long way. Look at how that little tiny bit colored this down. Now, before that little daub dries, I'm going to kind of take my card here and do a little touch to see if I'm close. And the answer is I'm very, very close. You guys can see that. So that's good. I wanted to match my starting color before I did anything else because I might want that starting color. I do think I do need a little bit more of my black, though. I'm just going to mix it in. But yeah, black impacts other pigments pretty heavily. A tiny touch of black will be visible. If you have no black and you add a tiny touch of black, black will be visible. This is why I encourage you guys to go away from paints that have black in them when you are learning to mix. Because you're going to get much cleaner results and they're going to make more sense to you intuitively if you go for paints that don't throw black in there. because black can really confuse the eye. It can mute out and kill vibrancy very, very fast. Refresh, Kodiak. Refresh your browser. Just reload the screen. You will be fine. All right. So now we know we need to go and brown out this color a bit and bring it up with our cream, because that is the picture that we found of a alligator or crocodile. The glitch of Twitch. Yay. Yeah, whenever you have problems on the stream, always just your first response should be to refresh. That's like unplugging it and plugging it back in. Or checking that it's turned on. I guess that would be the first step. Alrighty, so I am going to actually do a mix of... Remember, we mix a nice big puddle of our first paint so that we can build other colors off of it. Now, as this transitions down, we didn't want it to stay green for long. So I am going to put a blob of rich leather in here, grab a brush full of my green, and also get some of my nod bone. I'm going to kind of make a mix because it looked pretty mixy on that crocodile hide. Oh yeah, that's a good color. When you're painting animal parts, you know, muted colors are in, so. Now, my green is a lot more vibrant than this, so if I want to, I can just not even rinse out my brush, but kind of take my brush over here and mix the little bit of paint I have left on my brush from here into this green. It will mute it out just a little bit. Also, it's going to give it a little better coverage, because adding the nod bone, which has white in it, is going to do it, and that is going to also make the colors look better together. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take a brush full of this, and we're going to bring it over, and we're going to do another drop of nod bone. Yeah, you could use troll hide. And it is really close to troll hide. I just wanted to do an episode on mixing olives because it's so easy and you can get some beautiful organic colors. But yes, you can use the simple step. Inara, of course you can use the simple step. That said, I would still use troll hide and mix some rich leather and nod bone into it. And I'm going to take a brush full of this and put it in here. Just going to green it out just a little bit and brown it out just a little bit. And there are our gator colors. Now, remember that it did have those black spots and a very dark top to the scales. And a lot of the times that top area will look almost blue-black. So one color you could use for this would be blue liner, which I have hanging out over here somewhere. I put my gray liner in, and now my box is confused because blue liner is not where it was and gray liner is in there. 1 second. Resorting. Blue liner was hanging out up here. So blue liner. And then we've got pretty much crocodile colors. If I don't throw my mixing brush all over. But it's that kind of day. Hey, it's alpaca day, right, Quindy? It's the day of the alpaca nation invasion. Oh, yeah. We've had to do that when we had crappy internet for our computer. It is the Alpaca Nation Day. That's what I thought. All right, I'll keep an eye on my timeliness then. And I'm going to add a little green to my blue liner too. I'm just going to teal it out in a weird way. Gonna make it more green. It's actually very similar to my last fountain pen refill, which was me adding blue-black to a kind of tealy green. And it turned this color. Let's see, where's my... There it is. Let's see if I can pull this out so you guys can see the color. So it's kind of now gone a little bit more tealy from the blue liner that it was. So that's good. It'll make it work better with this green. I like to use dark blues to shade olive greens. Dark blues and purples are my favorite things. Like blue, black, and dark purple are my favorite colors to shade olive green with, without exception. We'll use this also as a liner between scales. I don't think I want to do a wash over the whole surface. I want to kind of glaze it over the top and then bring it down just using the texture. So let's just do that. Now we've got all our colors mixed up. This is our suite of colors we shall call alligator hide or crocodile hide, whatever you would like to, whichever reptilian dillion you wish to use. Excellent. Sweet. Let us proceed. Boop. Doo-doo-doo. Wow. Excellent. Oh no. Yeah, that sucks. Barometric pressure always gave me, activated my allergies. It didn't give me headaches, but it totally, like, made my sinuses dump everything. Like, drop all ballast, pretty much. Let's see here. I'm kind of sick of using my old Maestro is really beat up at this point, but I'll try it. All right. So we do need, the other thing we need to remember is that we do have a thing where there's edging on this, like, there's edging around the edges of the leather. And we're probably going to want to do that with a lighter leather color. So one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to do my lining right away. I want to take this dark blue liner tealy color, and I want to separate out the different parts of this armor. And I also want to edge the parts that have like kind of a rolled leather rim. You can kind of see that detailing on the edges here. It's a little less, it is there on this. It's really less evident. I'd call it a little bit more foamed in on the top part. But putting that wrapped leather part in there is going to help us get some contrast between these different layers of armor. It's also going to help us get contrast between the horse parts and the armor. Although the green is a very nice contrast to the red of the hide already, the reddish brown, bringing in a light color would be even better. So one thing I can do here is to kind of mix a leather color. This is the thing. This is where I get into the serious mixing, because I could just use leather brown, or I could take the rich leather I've already used and just add a little bit of the white or the gnawed bone to it, and I would get a color very close to leather brown. So you could do either. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, Gwyndy. Yuck. That sounds terrible for Reaper Live. So yeah, I'm going to grab just a couple drops. I'm going to do probably a 2 and 2. Rich leather and gnawed bone. See what kind of color that gives me. I just like using the same colors. I feel like it gives me more of a unifying color scheme when everything is like I'm reusing colors. Even in my mixes, I'm reusing colors that I'm repeating on the model. Kind of feel like that's kind of just, for me, it's fun. Best practices for Anne. And I feel like it does make me feel like there's a better color harmony, and I'm not in danger of just grabbing a color as an edging color and having it stick out too much or having it fight with anything else. Yeah, this is a nice color, actually. It's not as orangey as as leather brown. It's a very pretty light brown, warm light brown. So that's nice. It's going to be different enough from the rich leather it comes from, so that I can use it for this edging part. I might even want it a little darker, but I might do a wash over this or do lining around it with some russet brown. So we'll see. I'll use the light brown for now. So yeah, I may do a very small localized wash because these details are tiny and I don't really feel like lining all of them. Although I may end up doing so if I feel I need to bring them out. So we'll see. We'll see. However, what are we going to do? First, we're going to underpaint. Yay, underpainting. Boo, underpainting, says everybody. Yeah. Because we're putting a really light color over a dark color, and if we want that color to look true to its color on the palette, we need to put white under it. So I am going to actually line around the braiding, the leather braiding around the edges here. This will also kind of give us a buffer for if we do this wash. Where the wash will go over the liner. Even if it gets a little bit over the liner, it's not going to matter because the liner will be so dark it won't show up. So really just putting, and I could paint this entire thing dark and then just go over it with white, but why not practice brush control? The easier way would be to just paint all of this edge area dark, and then to go over it with white, just leaving a little dark around the edges. That's always the easiest answer. Oh. Bummer. I'm sorry you guys are feeling so bad. Bees can be a type of fish. I love it. I love it. That's the kind of whimsy we don't want to, like, you know, ridicule anybody for, because we need that kind of whimsy in the world. Bees need to be fish. Because if we need to protect bees, and that is the most efficient way to protect bees, then we need to do that. That's just it. Really, what it says is it was very short-sighted to only extend those protections in the first place to fish. So that we had to make bees fish. So I feel it is not the problem of the current legislation, but of the prior legislation for being too short-sighted and only protecting fish. So doing a little bit of lining while I'm here underneath this reddish leather as well. Because if you've got your liner out, you may as well use it. You found a fish in your greenhouse today. Awesome. Oh, interesting. But wait, fish are vertebrates. Now, okay, now the scientist in me is going, what? Wait, this is no longer whimsical. This is ridiculous. See, all it took was to call bees vertebrates. I do not think that bees have tiny skeletons. Oh no, I believe you. I believe you. I'm just, like, really disappointed. At whoever wrote the original definition of invertebrates and vertebrates at that point. Unless it's like if it's not actually fish, but like jellyfish or something. Though nobody really wants to protect jellyfish. Jellyfish are probably going to be our ocean lords. Like, they're going to develop sentience and they'll be the only thing left. Oh, octopi being fish, in the Fish Protection Act. I see. Yeah, can we classify sable as fish? Kolinsky sable fish brushes. Oh, I see. Fish and invertebrates. Got it, Sean. Got it. Okay, well, good. Then my outraged inner scientist is going back to sleep. Okay, that makes sense. Fish and invertebrates. And bees are invertebrates, and so... Right, because mollusks need protection also. Really what it comes down to is like, let's just extend the protection to the planet. Like, really? All of this splitting hairs. When really, humans are just dangerous and we need our poor planet to be protected. Poor, poor planet. Earth doesn't just need a day, it needs a sabbatical. Bees were missed in the original laws. Got it. Yeah, right, Sean, right. Sloppy, that's what I was saying. It's sloppiness in the original. Faults in the original laws. Yeah. They probably never, like, figured out that bees were cool. And so they didn't think. But short-sighted. All right, so I'm going to try to do this light brown over this, actually. It's a very pale brown, so it is showing up really well. You just need to get voice to text, Twisted Oma. Get yourself, train a dragon. Train your dragon. Get dragon speaking naturally. Then you don't have to worry about your fingers anymore. They say voice to text has gotten really good, but I still get very amusing texts from my friends who use it, so maybe it'll just make it a different form of amusement. All right, so this covers well enough that I am actually going to just put it over the edges. I do feel like it does need a little bit more definition. That's the problem with light colors, is they can look very flat. That's why we rely on shadows. But just for a base, I'm going to put this down. I might need to do a couple of coats of it because I didn't underpaint it with white, just to make sure it gets bright. Yes, everybody loves it. I love it because, like, having named it Dragon, naturally speaking, now they can do cute things like train your dragon. Because essentially, as it trains itself, as it learns, it uses machine learning, and as it learns the words you prefer and the spellings you prefer and everything, it gets better. It adapts to your speech patterns. It's pretty cool. It gets better at speaking you. Some writers use Dragon to dictate their novels to get rough drafts. I don't think I could ever do that. Like, my brain is just so locked into the process of typing. I mean, maybe I could retrain my brain? But it seems so weird and alien. Hey! Miniatures down with a Giganto raid. The Paccas. We were just talking about the alpaca invasion, and little did we know we got it early. Hi, everybody. I'm doing pretty boring stuff today right now. We are going to paint this the scales here, but I'm just doing the lighter leather edging real quick. Where do you sit? Where do you put your stuff? Just hang out. We're chill. We're just talking about voice to text for people who are whose thumbs go a little crazy, or who don't have great motor coordination in the chat, or who have had too much coffee. Because it can be both, right? It can be too sleepy and too awake. So he was talking about how voice to text has gotten a lot better, but not so good that my friends who use it don't still send me very amusing texts and then have to go, oops. All right. Just a little bit of a light edge here. We'll go back and do detailing. Oh, I do not like wasps. I will, yeah, they're creepy. They're dangly legs and they're stingy butts. I'm not into it. Hopefully, Omadar. Yeah, but it's, I mean, I was just saying there are writers I know who dictate the first draft of their books. Like they've trained their dragons speaking naturally. It's called training your dragon. They've trained their dragons to the point where they can actually dictate the first draft of their novels, which is crazy talk. Yeah, I mean, you might be able to train it, though. I think that's the point of more advanced, better voice to text stuff like Dragon Kroniko, is that you can actually train it to understand you better. Some of the not so good voice to text is not as good. Yes, we're talking about various animals. Well, this is good. So I'm excited, guys. Like, I ordered my first birthday present yesterday, which is we've been looking at getting a fountain. Just a little one that I can just put a little water in each day. But it should help our local wildlife. Because the various birds and beasties that live here get very parched in the summer, obviously. Because we have no water. We have zero rain all summer. No rain. Nothing. That's a bummer, Agent. Yeah, it's gotten really good, Omadar, from what I've heard. I mean, I'm a writer, so I also hang out in like writer groups and writer communities, and the people, there's apparently an article online called How to Train Your Dragon, done by an author who uses it to dictate her first drafts, and it kind of does make sense to use it for a first draft because your first draft's usually crappy anyway and has a bunch of mistakes, so you always have to go through it anyway. So in that case, like, dictation mistakes are just another set of mistakes you have to fix, right? No, Mad Zeke. Oh, cool. That's neat, Kodiak. Yeah, it makes sense. It's easier to speak your notes. Literal translation. Are you living on the sun? Oh, Lord. All right. Yeah, so you can kind of see that not doing underpainting, see how greenish this is? That was a first coat. So if you don't do a white undercoat, you're probably going to need to do a couple or a few coats. That's why I say that doing a white undercoat, if you've got a darker color like we have this green, and you're putting another color over the top of it, and you want that second color to retain its like chroma, like the actual color it is, doing a white undercoat, even though it feels like an extra step, sometimes actually does save you time, because I'm having to put about 3 coats on. So if I would have done a white undercoat and just put this light brown over the top of that, I only would have had to do 1. So it does, even if it seems like an extra step, underpainting can often still save you time. Yeah, because I'm still seeing hints of green showing through over here and stuff, so. Yep. Anyway, all right, let's do something fun. Let's get onto these not dragon scales, crocodile scales. So I want the back to be dark. These really are sculpted like alligator scales, so I feel pretty good choosing these colors. So I've got this double row of scales that goes down the back that I'm going to paint over with this kind of bluey, blacky, teal color that I mixed, which is blue liner with just a bit of my olive green base in it. I am going to take my little green base and do a bit of a wet blend also to kind of pull this shadow more evenly out into the surrounding scales. I don't want it so strong. I want it mostly the darkest on the top of the back, but I do want a little bit of it to creep out into the surrounding scales. Because on animals, usually it does so. We're not going to worry about lining the scales right now. We're just going to kind of get our colors laid down. I can also bring this in if I want and make more of a shadow underneath the overlying the layer above it. So we could do a little bit of shading that way. Oh my God, it's the same creative process for me. Like there are so many ways that writing and painting are the same. For example, when you get toward the end of a project and you kind of freeze up on it, or you get sick of it and you just don't want to push through and do it, every single painter I've ever talked to runs into that, and every single writer as well. It's creative process is creative process, and I could draw so many parallels between writing and painting. I do on this stream pretty regularly, but I try to keep it to a minimum because a lot of you aren't writers, and I don't want to like totally crowd the stream out with writing stuff. But yeah, there are huge correlations. Like even to the point of just like just the way you approach especially in the way you approach your art or your painting and the way you approach writing. Like, it's all about mindset, and it's all about, like, giving yourself time to just learn and not being overly critical, right? And I'll bring in a little bit of that dark shadow underneath here. This will help me vary up the surface a bit, so it's not all just that flat green. An animal has very organic, like, transitions between colors, and so I'm trying to approach a bit of that with this. Yeah, if I don't finish, I can't fail. That's exactly what it is. I don't do mechanical stuff. I don't do mechs. I don't do vehicles. I would say that's probably the type of mini. Because otherwise, I've done historicals. Obviously, I've done busts. I've even done a statue at this point, so... So I'm bringing in a little bit of this teal, this dark black teal. It's kind of a sketchy liner. These scales aren't crisply sculpted anyway, so I can be a little sketchy with it and not necessarily do lining around all of the parts. I can keep it a bit rough. Especially if I'm moving fast, if I don't want to sit and lovingly detail every single one of these scales. Which, honestly, guys, this is a pretty rough sculpt on these scales, and... on this sort of sculpt, I probably would just kind of do it more quickly and with less care. Like, I'm more tempted to slow down if I've got a model that's, like, meticulously sculpted with a beautiful scale pattern. I will spend all the time in the world bringing that out. But if you've got a very kind of chunky, fast, swiftly done, not really crisp pattern or sculpt, doing it fast and loose is the way to go, I think. I'm trying to think about my other writing and painting parallels. Well, the whole just start, for example, the whole, sitting there and debating with yourself whether you feel like painting is the same as sitting and debating with yourself whether you feel like working on your writing. The answer is just sit your butt in the chair and start. We sit there and we like negotiate with ourselves so much in life about whether we feel like doing something when really then we end up not doing anything and kind of feeling bad about ourselves. And really, so the answer is really just butt in chair, sit down, do something. Just start doing it. It's not hard. Don't let your brain negotiate. Just do. Sit down, whip out the mini, mix up some paint, get your document pulled up, start working on the scene in front of you. Can't tell you how many times I've been like agonizing over working on a scene and I just sit down and make myself start and then it's not nearly so agonizing and I get through it no problem. Same with painting. Agonizing about this part of the model, just make myself sit down, work on the dang thing, and then the agony goes away. Omidar with, that's an interesting question because that, for me, it's a good question, right? Because it may be where those things diverge for me. But remember, I'm not published yet. Like, I've been just working on these novels for so many years, just in a vacuum, with nobody seeing them, right? Except for maybe giving a chapter over to one of my friends to read. And only recently, like within the last 6 months or so, have I worked with like a developmental editor and beta reader who's given me like serious, like in-depth feedback. So only now am I starting to actually get feedback from people outside of myself, really. Whereas with painting, obviously, I've been getting instant feedback for a very long time. So I kind of feel like lately with painting, like for a very long time with painting, I wanted other people to like my stuff. Like a very, very, very years and years and years, decades. When I first started painting, getting positive feedback that people really liked my painting was the best way to get me to paint more and to motivate myself. So for a very long time, I would push myself to paint better, especially because I knew painters who were better than me, especially when I was starting to like work toward golden demons and stuff. Then it was the highest motivation to just paint and paint something that other people would think was good, right? Now where I feel like with painting these days, I can do anything. Like even with a new medium like oils, I pick it up, I break it down, I dissect it like I do with my mad scientist brain. I figure out how it works and then I execute. And I feel like given the time to do that, I can do anything with this hobby. So I no longer feel like I still like doing stuff that looks pretty so I can show people, and I still enjoy people like enjoying my work. But now I feel like suddenly I'm doing it more for me than I ever have. Like I don't know if that makes sense. But totally. And so for my writing, it's like the opposite, where I started out just doing it just for me, writing the exact story that I always wanted to write in exactly the way I wanted to write it. And now that I'm showing it to people, and maybe, I'm going to indie publish it next year, then I might start getting more out of writing in the whole people appreciating my stuff. Like, I know when my beta reader gave me some really good feedback, like, I felt really good about it. I'm like, yeah, somebody really enjoyed my novel and loves my characters. Like, that feels great. That feels absolutely great. So I can see, like, that becoming a motivator for me maybe later on in my writing process. But it's really gone. It's funny how in reverse it's gone between painting and writing. Thanks for bringing that up, because I would never have realized that. I love this kind of thing. I love realizing these little things about myself. Yeah, Cornico, sit down. Just do it. Do it. Get yourself a D20. Like, write up your little D20 charts for D&D. Like, make yourself a random miniature encounter table and a random color encounter table. Seriously, do it. It's fun. And then use that. And even a podcast encounter table. And maybe one of those can even be random podcasts I search for on the internet. Right. Yeah, work can be a hard thing that way, Dogfather. And then it's maybe just the weekends for you or your days off where you need to plan to paint if you want to fit it in. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And actually, Omadar, that's why I do competitions. That instead of finishing it for someone else, finishing it like the competition helps give me a hard deadline. Because otherwise, yeah, it is hard to finish, right? But I do really enjoy going to competitions and having something to enter when all my friends are entering and my fiance is entering. So I can now use competitions for that type of thing. So it's still kind of other people enjoying it, but it's just being at that point it's less putting it on display in the competition, and for me more about my friends are all entering, my fiance is entering, so it's the community thing at that point for me. So I don't really care I don't even care how the model does once it's in the competition. I just want to be part of the competition and part of the group of people who are entering, so that I can talk with them about the competition. Like, so then it's a sense of community. It's really interesting. Well, but it'd still be funny, Karanico. And it would get stuff done. Thanks, Bryce. Thanks for complimenting my horse butt. You just missed a really awesome discussion of like the creative process and writing and painting because you were late. But Omadar is asking great questions about this stuff, about parallels between the creative process and writing and painting. But yeah, so Omadar, I feel like now, like because painting for myself means I'm, sometimes I'm just lazy and don't feel like it. Putting like hey, I want to have this done for ReaperCon. I really want to have it done for ReaperCon so I can enter ReaperCon along with David and all my friends. Like, right, Inara. Yeah, and that was what got me to enter KublaCon this year as well. And I scored a best in show. So, but the best in show it means something to me, but it doesn't mean as much to me as just having finished the model and getting it into the competition, I guess. Like, once I finish, I feel great about it. It's just that we seem to forget that, right? Our brain forgets how good it feels to have finished something. And instead it wants to sit there and muck around and play jokes on us. Yeah, crows, that's the way to do it. Like, that is absolutely the way to do it. Like, sometimes if you've had a really rough day at work, but once you sit down and eat, you get the little tiny burst of energy. And I feel like a lot of people would be maybe eating in front of the TV, or they're sitting down to watch the TV after dinner. And that's where that little piece of energy gets expended. Whereas if you sit down after dinner and you do 15 minutes of painting, even if you get tired again really quickly, you've got 15 minutes of painting. And that still, over time, will give you progress. It's the same thing, and that is absolutely the same as writing. If you can't a lot of people feel like they need to make like an hour to sit down and write, and that is absolutely not the case. You can do writing sprints in 15 or 20 minutes. You can absolutely do painting sprints in 15 or 20 minutes, especially if you have a wet palette, because then your paint's ready to go. Yeah, I got BIS at Kubla this year, Bryce. My first best in show in my life, actually. Laszlo entered. Ivan's becoming a really good painter. He entered. Rachel had a really nice piece. So yeah, I was not expecting to enter. I actually voted for, I think David voted for Laszlo, and I voted for Ivan because I really liked his Golden Demon piece that he entered. But yeah, so that whole making tiny bits, it's about kind of like really listening to your energy levels and figuring out the little parts of your day that you might be able to sneak in some creativity for. Oh, I didn't get a baby arm. They made nice, because 3D printing has gotten better. Oh, the Halfling Assassin, Bryce. The Halfling Assassin. But because 3D printing's gotten better, here, I'll hold it up on camera. This is a really nice big Kubla this time. Really, really nice. Shiny. Super shiny. So Kubla is sitting now up next to my Privateer Press Grandmaster from this year. Thanks. I knew that, Thanks for that, Luca. I'm glad you like my horse's butt. We can't use the horse's other word, or Quindy will mod us. Very shiny. You are so funny, Luca. Hey, I'm getting a doggy. My puppy, our puppy, the mommy of our puppies is, it turns out, preggers and probably full of puppies. And that means that we are getting a puppy this late summer, mid to late August. I'm super excited because I lost my old dog about a year and a half ago. And I had dogs for, a decade before that, so I miss having a doglet. It was the Halfling Assassin, Crow's, Black Crow, Bryce. She's in the case out there, so I won't run and get her. Quindy. But yes, so I will be getting a puppy. We'll be setting up a puppy cam because there's a space right here next to my desk for the puppy's crate. Yeah, it's been that long since Kiri passed, Shadow Raven. It was kind of nice. I needed a break. There's definitely a point where, especially with just the divorce and the move and all of our old dogs, like Leo and Kiri both passing, there was definitely a point where I was just feeling like I was taking care of everybody but me. So I think we all hit those points. And so it has been kind of a relief to just take care of myself for the last year and a half and to kind of regenerate a bit. Much as I love dogs, much as I miss Kiri, and I do miss Kiri. Every time I think of Kiri, I miss Kiri. But it has been a nice to just kind of relax, reset, get my groove on, get my energy back. And kind of just adapt and get into a groove in my new environment, right? Because the pandemic was also just a huge disruptor, as everybody knows. And Kiri passed away kind of in the middle of that, so. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting a puppy. I know it's going to be a pain in the butt, and I know it's going to be a ton of training and time. But I am ready. I am ready to have a puppy again. And I know it's going to mean getting up early, which I hate. Well, I'll tell you one thing about puppy treats, Lady Nim, is that I don't... Leo, one of our last dogs, was allergic to chicken, so I just got out of the habit of ever using chicken-based treats. And I'll probably just carry that over. So I tend to use, a little less processed. I like the dehydrated meat jerky treats and stuff like that for my dogs. All right, so just doing a real quick, not really a real tight lining, but a real sketchy lining around these scales. Because they aren't, super tightly sculpted, as I mentioned. So I don't feel like I need to go crazy with it. I just need to roughly get them delineated. Also, since I've thinned my black teal color, it's just, real lightweight. It's not like a super harsh line. It's more like a shader, a little tighter than a wash maybe. So... yes. Dogfather, if you have only a little bit of time per week, you can still make improvement. But it does require a little bit more from you in planning. Because what it requires is less just painting a bunch of models and more taking the feedback that you got from previous ReaperCons about what techniques you should work on next and specifically, targetedly working on those things. Even if it means not finishing models, but getting better at the technique. There might be a mold line on the bottom of his axe handle. I don't really care. Because honestly, if I give him to Ron and he just sits in the display case at Reaper, nobody's gonna see it. Meh. I know that's poor, not best practice. How about that? Not best practice. But I don't have the color to touch it up right now. All right, so let's go to our paints are drying out. I need to add a little bit more to my highlight here. I'm going to lose it. Yeah, Reaper Challenge League can be good, but the thing about Reaper Challenge League, if you're trying to get better, and that sounds like what you're trying to do, Dogfather, Reaper Challenge League will make you better if you are a beginner, because it's going to make you paint a lot. So things like brush control will get better. Maybe things like, just the application of basic base coating, washes, whatever you're trying to do, whatever technique you're trying for the Challenge League. But it does make you rush a bit. And that is not necessarily conducive to getting better. If you only have half an hour a week to paint, you can still make progress, notable progress over the course of a year. But you do need to figure out exactly what you're trying to get better at and target that. Yes, Omadar has it. Having just kind of a setup where you can jump in and out. Yes. And if you don't have a desk or a place to paint, I don't know if you do, Dogfather, honestly, just get one of those lunch trays. and just set up your painting things on the lunch tray, clear space for it in a closet or on a shelf or somewhere that you can just kind of stuff it. Then you can just grab the lunch tray and you've got everything on it that you need. You can just pre-put a miniature on there with the colors you need and an empty water cup and your brushes, anything, and your palette. And then you are ready to just go. So, like I said, it requires a little bit of pre-planning, but it's totally doable. Totally doable. Dogfather, remember that every ReaperCon, the judges are walking around the room, we're looking at the caliber overall of the competition, so there is a little bit of variance. So if the previous ReaperCon, like if ReaperCon gets a little bit better overall, we're not directly judging your stuff against, like, the other stuff, but we're still kind of looking at the overall. We still have to set our shelves in our head. We call it shelves because it's like the gold shelf, the silver shelf, the bronze shelf. So we still have to judge in accordance with what we see at the competition, because there isn't really a way to just, like, independently decide what's gold. If you do that without looking at the actual competition pieces, you could have a year where nothing gets gold because you're judging it from a standard from 4 years ago. So you always want to kind of look. And the solve for that is, again, to ask the judges specifically what techniques you need to work on next. And the technique might not be a mechanical technique. They might tell you your blending is fine. But maybe they tell you, maybe you need to work on, lighting better because this doesn't make sense. Or maybe there's another part that you could improve on. Yeah. Yeah, I would target. I mean, honestly, Dogfather, I don't know if you're on my Patreon. If you are, post in the Discord, feedback wanted. Like, I think you did. I seem to recall that you did. But I'd need to retake a look at those. And did we give you feedback on a specific technique to practice? Because if not, that's what you should ask for. It's like, what one technique could I have done better on this model to make it a silver or a gold or whatever? Like, we will try super hard to enable you to become better. At least I will. So just putting little bits of highlight at the top of these little scales just to bring them out, bring the texture out a little bit. I am going to bring it up a little bit. So let's grab our little bit of cream color. The thing is, I don't want to bring this this cream. I don't want to go too heavily on this. For one thing, we're still like mostly on the back of the piece, and if there was more armor going down the sides, then it'd be more likely that we were heading toward the pale parts of the alligator or crocodile. But as it is, this is probably going to stay mostly this color. The other thing I have to watch out for is if I bring in the highlights or bring up this color too much, this is really close to the leather color. And so I don't want to have those two things run into each other. I want contrast. Yeah, Kodiak. Feedback wanted. There's a channel for it. A lot of other people will give you feedback too if you post in feedback wanted. But I try to hit my Discord once a week pretty exhaustively. And if there's anything I can add to the feedback given, I will try to do so. It helps if you say what you're trying to do, though. Like, if you're saying, hey, I want to score higher. I want to score a silver at ReaperCon this year. Like, if you do that, and I'll tell you, the difference between a bronze and a silver to me is usually technical. It's like cleanness of painting and how good the shading and highlighting is usually where I personally will draw a line between bronze and silver. Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't dwell on it, though, Dogfather. Yes, I do remember. But you know what? That judge was reprimanded. Let's move forward. I worry about people sometimes Because that stuff does happen, and I get really angry when it does. But I try to get myself past it. But I do remember now, yes. What I would maybe do, Dogfather, if you're planning to enter ReaperCon again, is put up a piece in progress for feedback. That way we can try to, like, help you from, like, you know, like, middle of the process. Remember also that the judges are judging out of the goodness of their hearts. It usually takes like 3 or 4 hours to do it, and we're all really tired and slap happy during that process. But it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. Just that we're human. Yeah. Why hesitant to enter? Just do it. But tell you what, Dogfather. Work on a piece. Work on a piece to enter. And try to remember that the model you pick does like really matter in competition painting. So try to pick a model that doesn't have like, that's really crisp details and well sculpted that you really love. And then just post work in progresses on the Patreon. Sometimes on my Discord or on the Reaper one if you want to. Whichever community you like. Because then people can help you before it's the competition. So if you tell them, I want to score a silver at ReaperCon. This is what I want. This is my goal. To score a solid or high silver. Then we can like give you feedback specifically tailored toward that. And try to help you as you are making decisions on the model or as you're trying to tune things. That might give you better mileage, like a step-by-step kind of coaching thing. Like, don't let somebody else ruin the hobby for you. Like, this is the thing, guys. Every once in a while, somebody will make an insensitive comment. Somebody will make a joke about you or your model. Somebody in the world will have a problem with what you're doing, or they'll just be a dork. And don't let them ruin it for you. Like, why give that person that power? Like, you should come back loaded for bear. You know, that's... Just, I hate it when I see that, when somebody gets disheartened, for whatever reason, and just, like, gives up. Just, like, says, well, I don't really want to do this anymore. When really, it's not that you hate the hobby. It's that you had a bad experience with a person. So, that's my plea to you. Don't let, like, the competition get ruined by that one person. Just enter because you want to enter and you want to get better. So that's my plea to all of humanity. Don't let people ruin the things you love. Just give them the finger and move on. Yeah, use it as motivation. Or just don't use it. Like, if it doesn't serve you, if it really feeds at you, like, just try to get past it. Like, feel it and then let it go. It's like when you do something really embarrassing and yet years later you're still, like, all hung up on how embarrassing you were that one time and everybody else has forgotten it. Like, I do that a lot. I, like, do things that I wish I hadn't done because I just wasn't thinking or because it was just, like, I wasn't, you know, my mouth, like, opened before my brain caught up. And I just have to, like, give myself permission to, like, have been a dork and just move on and understand that it's not a huge thing. At this, actually, I had the thought the other day because and I'm share with all of you how old I am. But I'm turning 50 this year, believe it or not. Old lady of mini painting coming online, baby. But you know what? To heck with everybody else. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to. I've been this long on this earth. I'm not going to let anybody tell me what hobbies I can pursue or what minis I can paint or anything of that nature. To heck with them all. Yeah, it's nice that you think I'm a spring chicken. I don't feel like a spring chicken. I feel like a midsummer chicken. Yes, Bryce. Just work on getting better. Everyone has a process in getting better. That's so true. Yeah, it does take the wind out of your sails. I totally feel that, Dogfather. Yeah, just get back into it. Like, and you know what? If it's a thing, just don't concentrate on ReaperCon then. Just pick a model you really love and just enjoy painting it. Go to the con and just hang out with people who love you, because plenty of us do, and enjoy painting. Enjoy your puppies, enjoy your painting, enjoy your life. Like, just, you know. Everything hurts and you're dying? What's happening, D. Clearman? Did you, like, fall downstairs? Yeah. You still get comments where you just kind of want to punch the person and you're just like, wait. But yes, I am seriously concerned about you, D. Clearman. After a comment like that, you had better clarify. Also, I'm going to continue highlighting these little scales. But you can see how just a little bit of scale highlighting, and I'm kind of focusing the highlights toward the top. This light's coming down here and here, so I'm pretty good. I don't have anything. There's shadow over here, so I'm not highlighting. You can see how my highlights fade off as I go toward the shadow. Oh, it's a saying on a t-shirt. I like the "but did you die though" t-shirt. I like that one, because that's the rejoinder, right? Is "but did you die though"? Maybe it was leg day. That's awesome, Inara. You guys are hilarious today. Okay, you're seriously, great day. Hilarious. Oh, I see. You also turned the big 5-0 this year. That's right, I forgot we were the same age. Personally, I'm actually, other than my back, which has, as we know, issues, other than my back, I am physically probably in better shape than I was in college. You needed the "did you die" shirt after the last encounter you ran for your players. I'm pretty sure you can find that t-shirt somewhere. But did you die though? It's just like a reset your reality and your mindset shirt. I love it. I probably need to get one. Okay, so that's a little bit. When you're doing these little edge highlights, do make sure your brush has like very little paint on it. If your paint is thinned enough, it should come off nicely for these little tiny details. And remember, again, you also don't need to hit them exactly. You just need to kind of touch them. And if you get a little bit where you're kind of crossing lines and you're not hitting every little scale, don't worry about it. This is so mucky sculpted that, you know, you could deal. You kids. We are all painting. That's right, painting fossils. 51 for you, Bryce. Oh, Bryce will always be older than me. Does that mean I have to look up to you? Because I don't know. Isn't it funny how, like, when you're younger, like, 1 year makes this huge difference, and when you're older, you're just like, pfft. But yeah. Bottom line, kids, is enjoy the hobby. Don't let anybody take that from you. No matter what you do that you love, right? There's always somebody who's going to judge you for it. Or somebody who's going to think that you're wasting your time. I've had to deal with that a lot because my dad really felt like I was wasting my time through most of my life because I wasn't working a proper corporate job. But so I've had to deal with that kind of that judgmental thing. But you know what? It's not his life. Look up to you, Joyce, because I'm taller too. Well, that's true of everybody. Everybody in the almost everybody in the world. I am a short person. I'm the shortest one in my family. My brother is 6'2". What? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, George Burns was funny. Yeah, corporate America does drain the soul. I know, I worked in it. I worked for Equifax for a while. Like, I did. My dad was an accountant, like, and he encouraged me to go that route, and because, proper corporate job. I did work in the banking and credit sector for a while, but you know what? It is soul sucking. And honestly, I wasn't really thinking that way at the time, but I think one of the things is while I was working at one of my financial jobs, one of my coworkers committed suicide. And it's kind of a wake-up call, because she was young. She was like maybe 30. It just kind of gets you, like, if you're already kind of having what am I doing with my life thoughts, that'll bring them to the forefront pretty fast. So that's why I say don't let other people like ruin stuff for you. It's none of their business. They can do what they want with their lives and their minis and their stuff. And if they are crass individuals who lack sensitivity, then that will come to bite them eventually, I believe. So just be the best person you can be. And try not to let other people get to you. Now, don't overrate me too much, guys. And completely overrated. Right. Good for you, though, Kodiak, getting past it. Like, finally getting into a good position for yourself. I mean, a lot of us do that, right? We have a lot of expectations on us. We have a lot of pressure. We have a lot of people to support and people to help. And that includes us, and our companions, our animal and human companions, right? We have a lot of responsibilities. And sometimes it's easy to just get stuck in a rut in a place where we're not happy. But good for you, like, getting in a better place for yourself. So I'm just highlighting the green parts. I'm not going up, into the dark parts. We will put some highlights up here, but I'm going to use a different color to do it. I am now kind of a big deal. It was a small con. Talk to me if I pull it off at a big con. I'm trying to figure out though, because ReaperCon I always DQ myself for that kind of thing, since I'm an employee. So I'm not sure. I guess next year's Adepticon would be the next big, because I DQ myself for ReaperCon. So probably I'm looking at maybe entering Creature Caster, and I'm definitely entering Golden Demon next year. Definitely. Right, Dogfather, exactly. Yeah? Yeah, it is. It's definitely the coal mine. I mean, I look at this, and out here it's out here it's a whole different story, right? With all these tech companies, and they are, was just talking about this with Rachel and her husband Spike. Tech company employees are very spoiled. They have a lot of they have a lot of great perks, and I feel like, David could speak to this because he's an employee of one, but that it maybe helps a little bit with the burnout thing. But they kind of take it far here. Like, seriously, like, when there is a position, when you can make a job out of professional GMing D&D for corporate tech company, like, staff, like, it's your real job and you make significant money doing it, like, you are in a different reality. And that exists out here. Because there are so many nerds. You too, Golden Demon? You're gonna finish the big thing, Bryce, or are you gonna work on little things instead? Because I know the big thing, the big project, right? Because I'm going to work on some, well, not little things, but a couple of littler things. And then I do have a big conversion project that is just like a project of my heart that I would like to work on. I don't know if it would do very well in GD, but it is, I mean, it does follow fluff, but it would have to be pulled off really, really well. And I still don't know if it's quite the thing. Need to be a finisher. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, is just like finish stuff. And this is actually another parallel with writing. Going back to like the beginning, is you will learn more from finishing your first short story or your first book than you could ever have learned revising the first 5 chapters 50 times. Or doing half the book and just letting it sit on the shelf and starting a new book or a new story. Like, because the act of finishing requires you to make different decisions and to progress in different ways. Oh, yes. Have a good lunch. Have a good day, Rashad Raven. Thanks for showing up. The werewolf is, he is getting there. Actually, Journeyman Miniatures may have a painting competition next year at Adepticon. So if I finish Wolfie, I might have to enter him. He needs just little green stuff now. He's almost to the end of his green stuff, Kodiak. Like, I finished the big main work. So the big parts of fur are done. He just needs the top of his head done, the elbow wrinkles, and the blending in on his muzzle. So this Saturday, on my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/paintingbig, we will do that. We will be finishing up the Wolfie green stuff, and I can finally prime him. But then I have to make a decision about whether I'm going to use acrylics or oils. But I haven't done texture work on oils yet, and I want to do a lot of texture work on him, so I'll probably go for acrylics. All right, so I'm just mixing my blue liner, turquoise liner into the off-white Gnawed Bone here to get a little bit of a highlight. Oh, is it really 10:59? It is. All right, well, this is it. So let's just do a quick highlight on these back scales, and we'll call it. We talked a lot about life today. But we did get some painting done. So there's a big overhanging shadow here where this spear hangs over, and you do not need to highlight underneath that. In fact, you shouldn't. You do normally get highlights and shadows still in shadow areas, but they're much more subtle, and I would be more likely to take a darker color in and line more heavily, so that rather than bringing in actual light. So there's a couple different, maybe I need to do something on that for the Patreon. I kind of did with pentads, but maybe I can address it a little more specifically. All right, so then we've got those highlights on, and we've got some, got some nice alligator scales going on here. Yeah, that's great, Twistodoma. Oh, okay. Okay, Kreniko, have fun. Have fun, Kreniko. If we don't see you, we'll miss you. All right, everybody. So that's what we did. Think outside the box. I actually did try to do watercolor Almadar on a miniature. I experimented to see how and if it would work. The answer is it doesn't work. And the reason it doesn't work, if you're interested, Almadar, is that watercolors, a lot of them are staining. Like, they have various degrees of staining. And once you've got that stain on the primer or on the paint, you can't blend it. So in general, I find that it doesn't work for that reason. You can't lose it and you can't blend it. So yeah, watercolors do not work on miniatures as far as I've been able to tell, but I have tried it. Alrighty. Yeah, well, I told him, that's the thing. Okay, so this is the last funny before we hand this stream over to Luca and the horror that the Alpaca Nation brings. But I told David this year, don't enter because you have to let somebody else win Best in Show. And then I won Best in Show. So that's the funny. I'm going to not enter next year. I'm going to tell David not to enter, and I'm not going to enter, and somebody else will have to take Vestige Show. Dang it. Seriously. Seriously. There's a picture, not completely dumb, but there's a picture of my halfling assassin on my Instagram, Bryce, at Painting Big. Hashtag painting big. So yeah, we got some good armor done, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. It was a great stream. I laughed a lot. I like streams where I laugh a lot. I hope you guys have fun watching Luca, and I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to be starting a new mini, remember? I got him all prepped. I got him all washed. We're going to be starting this guy. Awesome mage dude. We're going to paint him orange. Orange and purple, maybe. I think orange and purple. So, different color scheme than usual on a model, because I haven't done anything in orange. So, yes, let's have fun. All right, bye. Yeah, hey, Dogfather, all the love, okay? Like, just do what's best for you. I'm not going to pressure you in anything. You make the call what's best for you, okay? All right, have a great one, guys. I'll talk to you later.